Happy Friday, everybody. It is the 20th day of December 2019. I'm Dan Kuntz. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Thanks for starting your day with us and your weekend with us. The last weekend of autumn, the last weekend before the Christmas holiday. Of course, the winter solstice is at 8:19 on Saturday night. And then Sunday we'll have the longest day of the year. Then we'll gradually get more and more daylight. It takes a long time. Hope you survived the snow event yesterday. We get this every morning right around 6 o'clock. It's called the Law Incident Summary Report. It comes from Rivercom. And it's everything that Rivercom had to tone out to the various law enforcement agencies, fire departments, ambulance companies, that kind of deal. And once the snow started snowing yesterday afternoon about 1:40. It snowed pretty heavily for a while, then it got light snow, and it finally tapered off right around 8:30 last night. How many accidents did they have to report to? I got them all right here. I highlight them. I don't know if you can see that or not, but we had a few. All things considered, not bad. I just counted the ones after the snow event began, when people started slipping and sliding a little bit. Chelan County Sheriff's Office, they responded to 9 accidents. Douglas County Sheriff's Office, 8 accidents. The East Wenatchee Police Department, 10 accidents. And the Wenatchee Police Department responded to 8 accidents during the snow event for a total of 35. Not bad. It's been worse. Still have that winter storm warning. It will expire, by the way, at 10 o'clock this morning. We're going to have some rain this afternoon and some wind and some mild temperatures. If you don't know already, certainly if you have kids in these school districts, they know already. The Wenatchee School District and the Cashmere School District are on a 2-hour delay. And for the folks who go to schools in the Moses Lake School District and the Quincy School District, you have no school at all today. So Moses Lake and Quincy schools are closed, Wenatchee and Cashmere on a 2-hour delay. Lots to get to. Let's not waste any more time. Let's take you around. We got a busy Friday. Let's take you around the valley with our Valley View cameras, courtesy of local hotels and Sky-Fi high-speed wireless. Isn't that a beautiful morning? Yeah, it's light overcast, 28 degrees outside of our studios. So we still got more precipitation coming our way. Could even get a little bit of light snow mixed with freezing rain in the next half hour or so. Doesn't look like that's going to happen, at least in the Wenatchee Valley. Then it switches right over to just plain rain. It's going to start raining at about 10:30 this morning, and it should be raining for most of the day today. It's also going to be windy. Again, those forecast details are coming up, and there's the Wenatchee Valley covered in a blanket of snow. Are we dreaming of a white Christmas? You'll be dreaming of a white Christmas. It's pretty, unless you head up to the Cascades or places up north. Down here in the Wenatchee Valley, are we going to have a white Christmas? Probably not. Lots of snowmelt coming our way. Camera 2, where are we off to, Megan? Megan gets to decide. She says, Root Canyon? Is that Root Canyon? It is Root Canyon. Okay, good morning, Root Canyon. My guess is the roads are pretty slippery up there. Mostly we're dealing with compact snow and ice on both the main arterials that are traveled around here and even the side streets. Obviously, the snow event happened in the middle of the afternoon when there was a lot of cars out and about, and those cars compact the snow down onto the surface. But again, significant snow melt is coming our way later on today. Camera number 3. It's a slow dissolve to Root Canyon again. Oh, okay, let's head to downtown Wenatchee. There we go, from the roof of the Cascadian, looking down to the south. That's just a really cool view. I like that one. Good job, Megan. That's pulled way back. So you can see very light traffic here on this early Friday morning. Boy, I almost made it Monday again. I don't want that. I want a weekend, by golly. And camera number 4. We are off to, let me think here. Let me look. I want to say maybe Steins. Oh, McNeil Canyon. Thank you. I should have figured that one out. The cloud bank that you see right in the middle of your screen is obscuring Lake Chelan. If that cloud bank wasn't there, I would have obviously recognized that as the top of McNeil Canyon. Everybody's dealing with some icy, dicey roads this morning, but so far, so good. No reports of any significant accidents as we work our way through this Friday morning commute. And that's our tour around north central Washington with our Valley View cameras. It's 5 minutes after the big hour of 7 o'clock. From Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, they give your home a hug. Here comes the van. Boom, boom, there it is. What are we looking at today? Well, a little bit of light snow is still possible, occasionally mixed with rain, but what the National Weather Service is predicting is right around 10:30 this morning, it'll start coming down as rain and rain only, and it should rain for most of the day today. And check out our high, 43 degrees. Yesterday's high was only 30, so we're going to be significantly warmer. Lots of snow melt is going to be going our way, and it's going to be windy at times today. All of the weather that's coming our way is coming almost directly from the south. So we're going to have winds blowing from the south to the north, and it's bringing in some pretty warm air. Take a look at your wind gusts today. Driving along I-90 could be a little difficult if you drive a high-profile rig, because it's going to be very windy out in the Columbia Basin as you work your way towards Spokane. Here in the Wenatchee Valley, these are gusts, not sustained winds, just the occasional rogue gust between 20 to 25 miles an hour. And again, as you can see by the directional arrows, all of it coming from the south, and it's bringing all that warm air, which is why it's switching over from rain, or switching over from snow to rain. So there you go. That's what we're dealing with wind-wise. Again, rain most of the day today, starting about 10 o'clock. It's going to be rainy tonight with a steady overnight low of about 35, so we're not going to get below freezing. We'll top off at 40 on Saturday. You're going to wake up tomorrow morning with some rain, pretty good chance of measurable rain Saturday morning. It should be done by around 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, and then we'll top off at about 40 degrees. Then things get kind of quiet. Although the snow level goes down to 2,100 feet on Saturday night, there's no precipitation in the forecast. We'll dip down to 30 on Saturday night. Sunday, we wrap up our weekend with lots of clouds and a high near 36. Monday, 38, 32 on Tuesday for Christmas Eve. Tuesday night, overnight low of about 25, lots of clouds. And for Christmas Day proper, just cloudy and foggy and a high near 32. So with a high today of 43, a low of 35, and a high tomorrow of 40, lots and lots of snowmelt is expected in the Wenatchee Valley. So get ready for that. It is 7 minutes after the hour. To the passes we go. This is a live shot of I-90 right now. It is raining, and raining quite hard, we're told, on I-90. They have a traction tire advisory, and there is a flood watch for the Cascades that goes all the way through Sunday night at 10 o'clock, because they're going to be dealing with some snow and some rain, as well as the snow level is going to hover right around 4,500 to 5,000 feet. So below that, it's going to come down in the form of rain. Again, traction tires are advised on I-90. It is raining on Snoqualmie Pass. Stevens is another story altogether. They have a chain requirement up and running on Stevens Pass. Unless you have an all-wheel drive rig, you gotta chain them up to get over US 2. It's snowing hard on Stevens Pass. And finally, US 97 Blewett Pass. It's raining on Blewett Pass. As you can see, the plows have gotten the job done. Mother Nature's helped them out as well. They still have a traction tire advisory, though, on US 97 Blewett Pass. So it's raining, traction tires advised on I-90. Raining, traction tires advised on Blewett. Snowing, chains required on Stevens Pass. They are expecting 1 to 3 inches of snow today, 2 to 4 inches tonight, 2 to 4 inches on Saturday, 2 to 4 inches on Saturday night, a couple of inches maybe on Sunday, and then that's it. No snow is expected from the time we get to Sunday night all the way through the Christmas holiday, and even into Thursday and Friday of next week. There was no snow expected at all in the mountain passes, but they're going to have some snow really right through the weekend, but not as much as they've gotten over the last 24 hours when they just got hammered with lots and lots of snow. It's 8 minutes after the hour, just about 9 minutes after the hour. We're going to take a break and come back with your Friday morning news, and there's a lot to get to. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We're live this morning from Studio 3 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Life Channel.
Winter is here, and CVCH wants to give your child a free sled to help them stay active. This January, plan to join us for a free event for the whole family. Free sleds, hot chocolate, and fun. For complete details, visit the CVCH Facebook page or check us out at cvchchillout.com.
Hi, I'm Jim Heinlein, independent agent and owner at Springwater Insurance Group here in North Central Washington. And one of the things we enjoy doing is teaching people how to find the right Part D drug plan. And you know, if you went into a shoe shop and they just sat you down and handed you a pair of shoes, that'd be confusing. You'd want them to measure. Well, we take a measurement at Springwater Insurance Group. We ask you 4 questions. What's the name, the dose, the frequency, and the pharmacy for your medications? This allows us to measure and get the right fit for 2020. Give us a call at Springwater Insurance Group for the right fit for your drug plan at 888-2600.
10 minutes after the hour, it is overcast and 28 degrees. We're going to top off in the lower 40s today, right around 42 or 43, with quite a bit of rainfall starting at about 10 o'clock this morning. So this afternoon, the roads are going to go from icy to just kind of gloppy and sloppy. Here's just making headlines on this Friday. The suspect in October's white powder scare at the Douglas County Courthouse got a reprieve earlier this week. If you remember, back in October, election workers allegedly found an unidentified white powder in a ballot envelope. sent in by Howard Allen Lane of Waterville. Prosecutors charged him that month with a prohibited act in a voting center, but they withdrew that case on Monday, saying they need more time to actually test the materials that were gathered from the courthouse and from Lane's home in Waterville. Those tests are expected to take some time, so the charge is dismissed without prejudice, and that means it could be filed again depending on the results of the test. Grant County's Drug Task Force raided a Moses Lake home on Thursday for the second time in a little more than a month. The Interagency Narcotics Enforcement Team served a warrant at the home on Stanley Road Northeast about 5 o'clock yesterday morning, reported seizing an undisclosed amount of methamphetamine, cash, and a stolen 2005 Nissan Murano. Arrested for suspicion of possession of methamphetamine with intent to deliver in a school zone, 38-year-old Andrew J. Gilbert Jr. and 36-year-old Pete Lopez. Gilbert is a convicted felon. He was also arrested back on the November 10th raid after first attempting to flee on foot. Numerous drugs and weapons were seized at that time back on November 10th. A nonprofit group dedicated to mountain biking says somebody stole 10 bikes set aside for underprivileged kids. The Evergreen Mountain Bike Alliance, they work on trail building and bike education. On Tuesday, organizers found the bikes, some tools, and some clothing taken from a parked trailer in Wenatchee. Total value at about $4,500. The bikes were purchased with local donations, and they were designated for kids who wanted to learn to mountain bike but couldn't afford to buy a mountain bike. If you have any information about this theft, you want to give Rivercom a call at 663-9911. Well, we had our first significant snowfall of the season, of course, yesterday afternoon, and various governmental agencies sending out timely reminders of how you deal with the white stuff. First of all, the Washington State Department of Transportation says watch out for their plow crews on state highways. This is very important. Stay at least 15 car lengths behind a snowplow and never pass a snowplow on the right. Chelan County Public Works says keep your garbage cans out of the path of their snowplows and get your garbage cans and get them back to where they belong as soon as possible after they've been emptied. And the city of Wenatchee reminds people to take care with chemical deicers to avoid stormwater pollution. Remove as much snow as possible before using the deicer and only use as much as needed. Also sweep up any extra chemicals. And a friendly reminder, with the rain and the warm temperatures coming our way, Mother Nature is going to take care of cleaning a lot of sidewalks for you. In other news this morning, Douglas County Commissioners are on record in opposition to the PUD's proposed new data center electrical rate increases. Commissioners also criticized the Douglas County PUD for lack of transparency in the rate adjustment planning process. Kyle Steinberg wrote a letter to his PUD counterparts outlining his board's objections to the proposed rate hikes. He says they unfairly target data centers whose recent growth has added to Douglas County's tax base. He said he was concerned at the time he wrote his letter that the PUD was poised to act on the proposed rates at next Monday's commission meeting.
Public meetings, and when you're a public utility and you're there to serve the public, I believe that's an important part of the process. I think if someone wants the opportunity to speak at the meetings, or they want to help you through your decision-making process by maybe giving you some information that you're missing, I think that's crucial in the decision-making process. And I think scheduling meetings during the holiday season, scheduling meetings and then to the decision-making process in a really short period of time, and especially a meeting 2 days before Christmas, is inopportune for the public to participate. So, there's that issue that we kind of had exception with. I know at our commission, we would never think of scheduling a meeting of such importance with so little time frame, so little public awareness, and really before Christmas. So we kind of had exception with that.
So Commissioner Steinberg, when did you first become aware of these rate increases?
I became aware of these rate increases at the beginning of last week from outside sources.
It's the first you'd heard about it?
The first I'd heard about it, yeah, which was kind of another issue that we took exception with. They're talking about making broad changes, and I'm not saying that they might not be necessary, that they might not need to look at revenue stream increases. I'm not saying that at all. All I'm saying is that they haven't reached out to any of the other agencies, be it the school district, be it the county itself, the East Wenatchee Water District. Some of these effects to the data centers and crypto centers, I know for a fact that they're the water district's largest customer. So you're looking at affecting an outside agency's largest customer base. On terms of percentages, which I think is the biggest thing here, through a tax base, they are between 15 and 21% of these outside agencies' tax base. And you're looking at, imposing a rate increase that's, unsustainable for them.
As you might imagine, there's a lot to this story. We're working on a follow-up. The PUD has a news conference. The Douglas County PUD has a news conference scheduled for later on today. PUD spokeswoman Megan Vibert says there will be no action taken, by the way, on the proposed rate increase at their next meeting on December 23rd. We'll have more on this tonight on the NCW Life Evening News. And finally, hey, it's Friday. What's going on this weekend? I don't know, but thank goodness we have an expert in-house. Weekend events with Megan McPherson.
Here's a look at what's on tap this weekend around the Wenatchee Valley. Columbia Choral presents a Feast of Carols this Friday at 7:30 p.m. at the Numerica Performing Arts Center. The group has grown to a membership of more than 70 singers who perform 3 completely different concert repertoires each year, as well as appearing at various community functions such as Festival of Trees, Leavenworth Choral Festival, and more. Get your tickets at numericapac.org. Magical Strings Celtic Yuletide takes place this Friday and Saturday at the Icicle Creek Center for the Arts in Leavenworth. This festive gala of music, dance, storytelling, juggling, colorful costume, processional, and songs of the season will bring warmth and joy into the heart of winter. Get your tickets at icicle.org. The 29th annual Robert Dixon Christmas Dinner is this Saturday at 11 a.m. at the Masonic Lodge. This free Christmas dinner is open to everyone in the greater Wenatchee Valley. Everyone is encouraged to bring family and friends and enjoy the blessings of our community. Santa may drop by for a delicious Christmas dinner. And finally, join the Numerica Performing Arts Center this Sunday for 2 classic films for holiday movies on the big screen. White Christmas will be played at 4 p.m. and National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation will be at 7 p.m. Tickets are only $3 per movie. For more information on this weekend's events and others, visit the community calendar at ncwlife.com.
Thank you very much, Megan. There's a lot going on this weekend. Don't forget, wherever you go this weekend, you can take us along. We're portable. We stream whatever we're broadcasting on television. We stream it live on our website 24/7. Just go to ncwlife.com and you'll see it right there. You can't miss it. What's making news on this Friday? We'll get together and put together a newscast for you with Grant Olson handling the duties and with a preview of tonight's news. Here's Grant.
Good morning, Dan. Coming up tonight on the NCW Life Evening News, heavy rain and lots of snow falling all across the state. When will it end? I'll have your complete North Central Washington weather forecast, and Eric Granstrom will have a look at all of the day's sports. That, all of the day's news, and much more coming up tonight on the NCW Life Evening News at 5, 6, and 10. Hope you'll join us then. Dan?
Thanks, Grant. We appreciate it. Get a hold of us. We'd love to hear from you, our viewers. Go to our Facebook page. Like us while you're there. Give us the big old thumbs up. And you can drop us a line via Facebook Messenger. You can email us, news@ncwlife.com, news@ncwlife.com. You can give us a call. Number's right there on your screen. Or, if you want to, you can go to our website, ncwlife.com. I highly recommend that you bookmark it and check it out every once in a while because we populate it on a regular basis. You'll see the Contact Us icon. You can click on that, fill out the form, and we get it right here at the station. All right, 19 minutes after the hour, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we got sports, the obscure holiday, today in history, birthdays. Everybody is entitled to Mike McNalty's opinion, and as part of Steve Hare's continuing series of interviews with movers and shakers and newsmakers in North Central Washington, his conversation with Dr. Jim Richardson, the president of the Wenatchee Valley College, will be coming up before the show is over. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley live from Studio 1 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Live channel.
Hi, I'm Eric Granstrom with the NCW Life channel.
And I'm Brent Rose with Country 104.7 KKRV.
It's that time of year again.
The 3rd annual Les Schwab Community Toy Drive.
Christmas will be here before you know it, and a lot of kids in our valley will go without if we don't help.
You can help by stopping at Hooked on Toys and picking up a gift tag off the tree.
Buy the gift and drop it there or any of our sponsor locations.
Thank you for helping kids in our valley have a Merry Christmas.
With the Les Schwab Community Toy Drive.
Travel enhances your life in every way. Let the travel professionals at Journey Travel and Tours help you plan that dream vacation. Don't leave the important details to those nameless, faceless online agencies. At Journey Travel and Tours, our goal is to build relationships that last a lifetime. And when you do need help, we have a 24-hour helpline that is routed to one of the agents in our office. When you think travel, think Journey Travel and Tours. It's where your journey begins. Like us on Facebook, and you could be one of our monthly winners.
We're back 21 minutes after the hour. If you're just joining us here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, it's 28 degrees, overcast skies outside of our studios. We are expecting rain later on this morning, right around 10 or 10:30. It's going to start raining. It's going to rain for most of the rest of the day and into the afternoon and evening hours. And our high temperature, forecast high temperature today, 43 degrees. Get ready for some snowmelt. In sports, adverse weather caused some postponements last night, but the Caribou Trail League was able to play a little basketball. Good for them, not surprisingly. Haley Van Lith scoring 36 points to lead Cashmere over Okanagan, 63-38. On the boys' side, Cashmere, again, no trouble, down in Okanagan, 73-46. They also got some wrestling done last night at Omak High School. Here are your results. Omak topped Chelan 29-28 as the Goats fell to Okanagan 42-36. And the Bulldogs tapped Cascade 54-15, and the Kodiaks lost to Omak 48-36. Ellensburg's Ephrata match that was rescheduled now for January 14th, and the Eisenhower at Wenatchee match, as you see, was canceled. On the wrestling schedule for today, they'll be on the mats all over the place. Wenatchee will be in Pasco. It's a multi-team meet. Starts at 4 o'clock. The Panthers will be in Yakima, along with Cascade and Ephrata tomorrow. It's the Cadet Classic. That begins at 9. Eastmont's in Kitsap. It's the Hammerhead Invite today at 10 o'clock, tomorrow at 9 a.m. Moses Lake is in Post Falls, Idaho for the Tri-State Invitational today at 10, and then tomorrow at 8 a.m. And at the Moses Lake in Quincy, the girls' teams are going to be at the Newport Tournament beginning tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Prep basketball schedule today. Let's start with the girls because it's ladies first, as it should be. The early games all begin at 5:45. Wenatchee's at Davis. Eastmont hosts West Valley. Moses Lake travels to Sunnyside. Quincy's in Wapato. Afraid to host Ellensburg. Cascade plays at Omak. At 6 for the ladies, you got Liberty Bell at Manson. Waterville Mansfield hosting Soap Lake, and Chelan is at Brewster. Tonight at 7:30, you have Cashmere hosting Mount Spokane. On the boys' schedule tonight, 7:15 start time. Quincy at Wapato. Afraid to host Ellensburg. Cascade at Omak at 7:30. They'll tip it off. Wenatchee at Davis. Eastmont hosting West Valley. Moses Lake and Sunnyside. Brewster hosts Chelan. Liberty Bell at Manson, and Soap Lake visits Waterville Mansfield. Now let's move on to Saturday. Coming up tomorrow, Entiat starts off the day. They'll be at Riverside Christian. They get going at noon. Ephrata has a 3:30 start time at East Valley. Quincy will host Ellensburg. At 5:30, you got WF West at Cashmere. Wenatchee hosting Sunnyside. Eastmont travels to Moses Lake. On the boys' courts on Saturday, Entiat and Riverside Christian, 1:30. At 5, it's Ephrata in East Valley. Quincy host Ellensburg. At 7:30, Wenatchee will take on Sunnyside, and the Wildcats are in Chiefs country. The Wenatchee Wow will try to stretch their current 2-game winning streak with games tonight and tomorrow night at the Town Toyota Center. Wenatchee's coming off thrilling wins, by the way, over Salmon Arm and West Kelowna last weekend. That gave Chris Clark his first 2 wins as head coach after taking over for Bliss Littler. The voice of the Wild, Art Checker, visited me, of course, yesterday and said the biggest adjustment for the organization is that Bliss just isn't around.
It's just, to be honest, it's weird. It feels very weird to not have Bliss there. Just his presence, it throws a long shadow, and when he's around, everybody knows, you know. So it's weird not having him there, but that said, from an operational standpoint, I mean, I go to the office, my job duties don't change. Clarkie's duties don't change much. He's still running the same practice plans that have been in place and that he's been a part of for a long time. So from the players' aspect, they look at it, they don't see, other than Bliss's face not being there, the drills they're doing and the message that they're getting from the coaching staff doesn't really change.
Now, after this weekend, the Wild don't play again until the first of the year, and my good buddy Arch says it's a good chance for the players to head home for a little while.
You know, it's helpful for, you know, the body gets tired, obviously, so there's that part of it. But just, you know, mentally, you know, a lot of these guys, I mean, some of them have had family come in, but there's others that haven't seen family since August when they reported. And, you know what I mean, we're talking about young men that are, you know, 16 to 20 years old, right? And you get homesick.
Sure,
You're
absolutely.
just like, you know what?
Yeah.
I want to sleep in my own bed. As great as our billet families are, and in some cases they're really good, right? But sometimes it's like, I just want to have mom's cooking, sleep in my bed, pet my dog.
Play my video games.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly. And so
just chill for a
yeah,
few
they get
days,
that
yeah.
opportunity to go home, and it's refreshing for heart, mind, and soul.
I love that hat. The Wild and Alberni Valley will get going tonight, and they got Powell River in town tomorrow. Both games start at 7:05. The Washington Huskies wrap up the Chris Peterson era tomorrow night. They're in beautiful Las Vegas tomorrow afternoon at 4:30. They'll kick off against his former team, Boise State. You can watch the game on the American Broadcasting Company. And finally, the Seahawks are home Sunday. It's their next to last regular season game. The Arizona Cardinals are in town. They're 4-9-1. They're looking to wreck Seattle's plans to earn that number 1 seed in the NFC. Seahawks are 11-3, need to continue winning to earn a first-round bye in the playoffs and home field advantage. And, of course, that's a big thing for us. CenturyLink Field, kickoff 1:25. And it's broadcast on Fox. And those are just some of the games that people are playing on this Friday. It's December 20th, and the obscure holiday, it's Sangria Day. Have yourself a sangria. It is a holiday treat. Tall glass of sangria. Of course, sangria, you basically just take a red wine, you put a bunch of chopped fruits, put a little sugar on it, you put it in the fridge, and you let it chill for a good 4 or 5 days. The longer, the better, and then boom, you're in business. If you're in the northern hemisphere like we are, you want to dream of warm summer days and have a nice cool drink. If you're in the southern hemisphere, it's hot and you want a nice cool drink, so it works either way. Have yourself a nice glass of sangria today. And the longer you let it ferment in your fridge, the better off you are. Sangria is always served cold. I'll wait till after work before I partake. It's time for Today in History. We closed the big real estate purchase that was the Louisiana Purchase on this date 216 years ago, December 20th, 1803. They had a ceremony in Orleans, and it was official, the Louisiana Purchase. And a big hunk of territory became part of the United States. Of course, basically doubled the size of this country. It was a pretty good deal. How much did we pay France? $15 million for 828,000 square miles. That came out to about $18 a square mile. Of course, most of that territory that we bought was unoccupied. We would change that in a short period of time. The Louisiana Purchase became a done deal on this date 216 years ago. December 20th, 1946, this is the actual advertisement from that day's New York Times. The popular Christmas film It's a Wonderful Life had its world premiere at the Globe Theater on Broadway in New York City. You could go see the movie for the very, very first time 73 years ago today. How much money did it make during its initial run? It's a Wonderful Life back in 1946? It didn't. It lost money. It lost $525,000. They would eventually get that money back, by the way. Yeah. It's your building and loan, Jerry, and it's your building and loan, Bob. It's a Wonderful Life, 73 years ago today. Very tragic event in Moses Lake happened on this date 67 years ago today. There you go. United States Air Force C-124 carrying troops home for the holidays from the Korean War crashed and burned shortly after takeoff at Larson Air Force Base just outside of Moses Lake. 115 people were on board, 87 died, 28 survived. At the time of this accident, back in 1952, it was the deadliest accident in aviation history and the deadliest accident on American soil. Of course, both of those have since been surpassed. But the plane accident that happened in Moses Lake on this date back in 1952 still remains the deadliest plane accident in this state's history. And finally, 53 years ago today, happy birthday to the Seattle Supersonics. The NBA awarded Sam Shulman and Eugene Klein, they were both businessmen out of LA, a brand new expansion franchise in the National Basketball Association for the city of Seattle. Of course, it was the very first major league sports franchise for Seattle. The Supersonics were born 53 years ago today, and we still miss them. It's the bottom of the hour. Birthdays. Two significant baseball figures were born on this date. Branch Rickey absolutely belongs on the Mount Rushmore of baseball. You'd have to get Branch Rickey, Babe Ruth, Jackie Robinson, what have you. Branch Rickey belongs there. Of course, he played a significant role in breaking the color barrier in baseball in 1947. He wanted to sign Roberto Clemente, the first great Hispanic star. He started the minor league farm system. He proposed all kinds of innovations. He invented essentially the batting helmet, elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1967, a legendary figure in the world of baseball and in the world of sport. Branch Rickey was born in the state in 1881, died in 1965 at the age of 83. And Fred Merkle was born in this state in 1888. His claim to fame is this. It's a legendary baseball story. Back on September 23rd, 1908, when Fred Merkle was 19 years old, in the bottom of the ninth inning in a game between the Giants and the Cubs, he played for the Giants. Fred Merkle came to bat with 2 outs. Score was tied at 1-1. Moose McCormick was on first base. Merkle had a base hit. McCormick advanced to third base. Next up was Al Bridwell. He had a base hit. McCormick trotted home for the game-winning run at the bottom of the ninth inning. Fred Merkle running from first to second. As soon as he saw home plate get touched, Fred Merkle ran off to the clubhouse. Well, he did not touch second base, and he was eventually called out on a force play, which means the run didn't count. The game was eventually declared a tie, and wouldn't you know it, the Giants and the Cubs ended the 1908 season tied for first place, so they had to replay the game from September 23rd, and the Cubs won, and eventually the pennant. Poor Fred Merkle. And Fred Merkle said, you know, when I die, you know what they're going to put in my obituary? My mistake cost us the 1908 pennant. And when Fred Merkle died in 1958, here's the obituary in the New York Times. There it is. Giant first baseman. Poor Fred Merkle. He was an excellent ball player and played professional baseball at the major league level for 20 years, but he was spot on at his 1958 obituary. There it is. His mistake cost the 1908 pennant to the New York Giants. By the way, his manager never blamed him. It's 32 minutes after the hour. We are going to take a break, but before we do, though, 2 more things I want to touch on. First of all, Campbell's, the destination deal. You got to hop on this, because one of these days, somebody at Campbell's is going to say, why are we doing this? Why can we let people rent a room, stay at our place for starting at $95 a night? I don't know. Ours is not to question why. If they want to do this, go for it. Again, all you have to do is be a local, be part of our big North Central Washington family, and give Campbell's a call and say, I want to spend a couple of nice days just chilling at the lake. And you can get going at just $95 a night. Rooms start at just $95 a night. It's the locals discount only at Campbell's. Since, when do they open? 1901, I think. So they know what they're doing. And finally, this is it. The Les Schwab Community Toy Drive is almost over. Your very last chance to contribute to the big Les Schwab Community Toy Drive is tomorrow at Hooked on Toys. It's a big event, 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock on Saturday. 10 a.m. to 4 o'clock on Saturday. We expect to see you at Hooked on Toys. Drop by, pick up that new unwrapped gift, and drop it off. On Sunday, the whole crew gets together, sorts them all out. They give them to all of our nonprofits, who will then give them to the kids who need. Every kid in the Wenatchee Valley should have at least one and more than one brand new unwrapped toy ready to go on Wednesday morning. But we wrap it up this weekend, the Les Schwab Community Toy Drive. And again, we cannot thank Les Schwab enough for driving the Toy Drive bus. They are good folks. They pay it forward. They really, really do. 34 minutes after the hour. Mike McKnight's opinion is coming up. And then our special news correspondent, Steve Hare, had a great and fascinating conversation with Dr. Jim Richardson, the president of Wenatchee Valley College. You'll see that when we come back. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, Friday edition on the NCW Life channel.
They may not be from you, but they're a part of your family. For many reasons, not all children are being raised by their parents. Are you a family member who has stepped in to help raise grandchildren, nieces, or nephews? Whether court-ordered or not, Aging and Adult Care may be able to assist you with many needs. Kinship Care helps keep family and community ties together. Learn more about Kinship Care by contacting Aging and Adult Care of Central Washington, working together for a better quality of life for all.
This is Mike Mad Dog McKnight, and everybody's entitled to my opinion. Now, over the past few years, I've heard increasing criticism of a company we know as Goodwill. Now, this criticism runs like this. Goodwill's paying nothing for the merchandise that they retail. They pay their employees a pittance and make tons of money in a despicable manner. Now, I can't believe this criticism of whoever this guy is. Whoever the guy is who came up with the idea about goodwill, he came up with a very creative business plan, offers entry-level work experience to folks who might not get a job anywhere else, offers good prices for the stuff you need, and gives you and I the opportunity to get rid of your junk and get a tax write-off. And I kind of think the criticism of this guy is prompted more by jealousy than any justifiable social outrage. And by the way, the people I've spoken to who work for Goodwill, they like their jobs. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
Local breweries are on a roll in Wenatchee. Brewers Row, that is. Start with Wenatchee Valley Brewing Company near Riverside 9 Apartments. Continue south down Riverside Drive to Columbia Valley Brewing. Then it's off to Badger Mountain Brewing on the corner of Orondo and Columbia Streets. Further south on Columbia is 509 Beer Works. Each has its own charm, unique menu, and some of the best locally made brew around. Find it all on Brewers Row along the waterfront in downtown Wenatchee.
We welcome to NCW Life Wenatchee Valley College President Jim Richardson on today's In Focus. I'm Steve Hare. Thanks for joining us, Jim.
Well, thank you for having me, Steve.
We invited Jim to come on the program today to talk about the Wenatchee Valley College and its current financial crisis, really, that you're in.
It is.
$1 million shortfall that you announced, or projected shortfall in the budget for the upcoming year, is going to mean some changes. Most notably, of course, the layoffs.
Right.
How did we get here, Jim?
Well, enrollment has been going down, but this summer it looked actually very strong for most of the summer. We have our major two types of enrollment. The state-supported, that was up as late as August, it was up 5%. And so that stayed flat, and instead of being ahead of the last 5 years, it was behind the last 5 years when school started in September. And so that was a problem. We're down 2.1% in state support, and that's tuition-bearing type of credits where we don't get that tuition, obviously. But also Running Start. Running Start was down, and we projected it to be down. And really, that's the first time ever it's been down. But we always have gotten kind of a bump in September or toward the beginning of school in August. We didn't get that bump this year, and so that was also down between 10 and 11%. So that's also a revenue generator for us.
What do you see as the reason for the enrollment decline?
Well, you know, community colleges tend to be counter-cyclical to the economy, and we've had an economy that's been running hot for, 10 years?
Yeah.
Approximately, and
increasing populations in Celina, Douglas County.
Yeah, but not necessarily in the high schools. We looked at our junior classes, and a lot of those are a lot lower this year, and that, of course, would be the Running Start students that would be coming to us. Also, you know, when the economy's good, a student coming out of high school might go straight to a job. The jobs are paying better because they have to get somebody to work for them. So it's a kind of a double-edged sword. I don't want to root for a recession. I don't do that. But it is students aren't, or people, I guess, graduates aren't coming to us straight out of high school necessarily either.
Maybe this requires an explanation to our viewers of how the college receives its funding, because you have different buckets that you draw from.
Yeah, we do. Our funding, really, we have no local funding. So we don't bond, we don't have levy power, we don't have any of that. That's the K-12 system that has that.
Except through the foundation.
Except that we can't tax people. We can ask for people to give money. And the foundation doesn't cover operating expenses. It covers things like scholarships or buildings, those types of things, equipment maybe. So wonderful. They've been wonderful partners, and they really, really do help us, but it's not something that we can depend on for operating expenses. The operating expenses come from the state. So we get the bucket of money that is called state funds by our enrollment, and a whole bunch of different factors in that, in the formula, if you will. And then we get the tuition from the students who come and pay full tuition. Not all our students do. Those in things like English as a second language, High School 21, those types of programs. We get state support for those, but we don't get tuition for those. We get, I think, $25.
About what percentage of your total budget is represented by tuition, let's say?
By tuition, well, about, I want to say it's, I'm not going to be able to give it to you offhand.
40%?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
And so when that drops, that's a big part. And Running Start has been a big part of our budget. This year, being down 11% or 10% is almost $700,000 to us. Even if we didn't plan on all of that 700, it's still a big hit.
Okay. Now, when setting your budget, do you go by a zero-based process, or how do you go? How does that formulated?
We really have to look at what did we have last year, and start from there. We go in the process. We kind of look at zero-based, but we know we have to offer programs, so we can't say, okay, we're not going to put any money into auto tech this year. That just doesn't happen. We have to know how much it's going to take to run the auto tech program, how much it's good. So we really look at last year, how much was expended there, and how much do we need to put into that. So it's really not a zero base where everything starts at zero. It's we've got all of these programs, we've got all of these needs. We start there, and then we look out from there. Yeah.
Okay, so as a result of the projected deficit, what are we looking at in terms of changes as far as the offerings at the school? And we know about the layoffs, possible furloughs going forward.
Right.
Do you anticipate any further layoffs, first of all?
We're going to get through the session probably before we determine where we need to be for our budget for next year.
The session, you mean the legislative
Yeah,
session?
I'm sorry, the legislative session, because we will know more about, what is coming from them. Because it's the second year of biennium, we have an idea from last year that they passed their biennial budget. So we have an idea, but we never know how they'll move that around during the session. So probably sometime after the session, we'll know a little bit more about our budget for next year, and we'll look at that. I hope not to have more layoffs, but we need to do what we need to do to make sure that our budget is right-sized. So I'm going to say, optimistically, no. Pessimistically, maybe a few. Not to this extent.
Okay. Faculty at this point, is that fairly secure, those jobs?
Well, our full-time faculty are, either in programs or, they're our front line of serving students. We have a different contract with them. We've been working with them. Could we lay off faculty? Yeah, it would be for next year. And so, we'll look at what is needed. We have fewer students, so when we talk about layoffs in the future, that may be something we look at, but I couldn't, I don't know that we'll do anything there.
Now we're talking with Jim Richardson, president of the Wenatchee Valley College, about the current budget situation. I guess the obvious question that you're going to get a lot is with what's being seen on campus right now, with capital improvements, new construction, new buildings going up. Was that premature?
No, it wasn't premature. The building is 70 years old. Wells Hall.
Wells Hall.
Not Wells House. Wells Hall.
Don't go there.
Yeah, don't go there. Is 70 years old and in really, really bad shape. We need classrooms. And so that's why we've done the replacement. That's been in the works for more than 6 years through the state board, of community and technical colleges, then through the legislature for design funds, and then another biennium now for the construction. So that's really been in the works for at least 6 years, probably 7 or 8. And so those funds are very different. We can't, the legislature gives you capital funds, which they actually borrow from to give to you, or to give to us. Those capital funds cannot be used for any of the operating budget. It can only be used for what it's designated for. So we can only use it for the Wells Hall replacement.
Okay. Now we have other new buildings. We have the new student sports complex, the Ed McGuire facility.
Right.
You also have, of course, your new applied science building, and then, of course, the new MAC, the Performing Arts and Arts Center. How are those being paid for? And I'm sure there's debt service on those.
Actually, on the student rec center, the students are paying for that one completely. There's debt service. What we did is we borrowed to build it, and then the students are paying back that. And we borrowed from the state, certificate of participation, it's called, from the Treasury. The students pay that back with the fees for that, or alumni, or whoever pays fees, staff.
Right.
All of those fees go toward that repayment and the staffing of that building. The Wenatchee Hall, I like that you say it's a new building. It's actually, what, 12, 13 years old or something at this point. That one had no debt. That was like Wells Hall coming. That was funded by the state.
I see.
We had Nurses for Tomorrow, people will remember that campaign, raised about $2 million. And most of it did not go toward the building. It went toward, afterward, the scholarships and things that have helped us really build the nursing program and other health programs. The Music and Arts Center does have a small loan against it, I guess, a COP against it from the state. We actually had borrowed that to buy the old Eagles property originally, and then when we traded with the school district, that all came through, and we used it to help build the Music and Arts Center.
Okay. Now you also, besides the Wenatchee Valley College campus here in Wenatchee, you have the OMAC campus. How is it being impacted by the current budget crisis, and what are the long-term plans going forward for that campus?
Yeah, the biggest impact, obviously, are we had 3 layoffs up there of the 20, I think we have 21 layoffs now. Of the 3 of them are up there, and it's a small campus, so students will notice that their support isn't as strong, isn't as immediately available, if you will, to them as they will on the Wenatchee campus. Do we have any plans? No. We have a district that's 10,000 square miles. Okanagan County has to be served, or at least our board, and I see it that we have to serve the people of Okanagan County. We can't do that without the OMAC campus. If we closed that campus, most of the students from there either wouldn't go to school at all, or probably would go somewhere else.
Okay. Is the situation that the Wenatchee Valley College finds itself in, is that isolated to just Wenatchee Valley College, or are there any others within the system of community and technical colleges that are also affected?
Yeah, there are quite a few others, actually. I've heard over the last few years, probably at least 12 of the 34 colleges have been affected with, as far as, going to layoffs. Others I'm sure, are coming. That I've heard about. Right now, the ones that are most recent, Grays Harbor out in Aberdeen is going through, actually about to go through its second round. It worked on it last spring and is looking at it again now because of their enrollment. And Walla Walla Community College in Walla Walla, obviously, is also going through it right now. They have announced a financial emergency. They have done layoffs. They are looking at their next year's budget and what else they need to do too.
Okay. So, at this point, what are you doing to narrow that budget deficit?
Yeah, well, obviously, the obvious, it's the layoffs, so we won't, any new position or any replacement, if we need one, will be looked at, we'll really look at it.
A hiring freeze, basically.
Yeah, it's basically a hiring freeze. There are some positions that if people leave, we would have to have, if our director of financial aid left, we'd have to have that position, that type of thing. But overall, it's a hiring freeze. We're looking at how do we use the people, reorganize in different areas where we have layoffs, and how do we reorganize so that the students get the service they need, because that's the most important thing. We have to still serve those students. And that's why we aren't cutting programs. We're not, our yearly schedule, our annual schedule is set, and so we're not cutting classes to students that need them. And so we're moving forward with, looking at how do we best serve students moving forward with less money.
I guess my final question for you, Jim, is why should we feel confident that you as a steward of public funds can do this?
Well, I think if you look back in 2008 and 9, the school went through not the same thing, it was actually different. It was when the recession hit and the state actually cut its budgets to us by, millions of dollars. And we, made it through there. We did very similar thing. We actually had 34 layoffs of full-time people in 2009, I believe it was. And, we made it through. We started rebuilding. And we've served a lot of students since then. We've added four-year programs since then. We've done a lot for the communities that we serve, and I think as we go forward, you'll see students, hopefully, more students coming, obviously would be a good thing, but we're still going to serve our communities.
I know that on your website, you also have a budget explanation as
Right.
to what the situation is currently and some of the frequently asked questions that people can access. One that kind of caught my eye, of course, had to do with your salary.
Oh, yes.
How has that been impacted by this current budget?
Well, I am, like everybody else, I'm taking furlough days. And so, your salary, obviously, you get less when you take furlough days. The budget itself isn't impacting my salary as a whole right now. What did happen and is explained on the website is last year discovered that I wasn't actually getting my raises that I've
Understand that you are guaranteed a 3% raise each year
yeah,
on your contract.
My contract guarantees me that. My contract is with our board, and that started in 2015. I didn't get those. So it looks like I got a $40,000 raise when really what they were doing is paying back pay. It all ended in one check in February.
Okay. Any final comments you'd like to share?
Yeah, I think coming through this, it's hard right now. We're a small college. We know everybody that is being affected, including the students. But, we know families. We know, we're kind of a family college. We're not GM. We're not a big Bellevue college where you don't know somebody, across the campus. And so it's really hard on all of us, on all of the people that are being affected, but it's also hard on the people right next to them who have to make up the work, but also are losing a friend because they're moving on.
Well, that plus looking forward to the future economy, which is going to be basically STEM
Yes.
Based.
Right.
You're one of the critical providers of education there, and
Right.
that's kind of critical to our future.
It is, and as we move forward and we look at programs, we really look at what does a community need for jobs in the future. We don't start a program without getting the input from the community. And so when we start programs, or if we have to end programs, it'll be because the need isn't there, the pay isn't worth going 2 years to school, whatever it is that we move forward and we look at these programs, both new ones and ones we have, that'll be the determining factor.
Well, speaking personally, I can testify that my family has benefited from Wenatchee Valley College. I have a son who's a nurse who got his certificate from the nursing program. I have another son or a grandson who will be graduating from high school and running start, so he'll be getting his
What a
AA degree as well.
Great deal.
And I have a daughter-in-law who, at the end of the year, is going to have a 4-year engineering degree from Wenatchee Valley College, which is another feather in her cap.
It is. Well, I don't know that it's a feather in my cap. It's
No,
in
it's in the
Wenatchee Valley
college's.
College's cap, and I definitely agree with that because the 4-year degrees, I've heard since I've been here, when are you going to be a university? We'll probably never be a university.
I understand you're teaching
yes.
4 years.
Yep, it's starting actually this quarter, our coming winter quarter. It's starting based out of our OMAC campus, mainly for the OMAC area, but it's for anybody, pre-K through 3 and special education. So.
Okay. But bottom line, are bricks and mortar the future of higher education?
Somewhat, they'll be there, but not completely. If you look at a lot of what we're doing now, we do a lot of hybrid, so it's partly online, partly Zoom, face-to-face, but on TV.
Distance learning?
Distance learning, sitting at your computer at home, watching the faculty member, talk or tell you something. And so we do a lot more of that. Matter of fact, we have one class that's being Zoomed, if you will, out of OMAC, and it's being offered in both Nespelem and Wenatchee. And so it's kind of a 3-way.
A live stream type?
Yeah, live stream, just kind of a regular class that's being offered in 3 places at once.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Use the technology.
Yes.
Jim Richardson, Wenatchee Valley College president, thanks for joining us on In Focus.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you for joining us.
It's time to renew your body and mind. It's time for Stressless. Now at Boswell's, save $200 on Stressless seating with a minimum $50 donation to charity, or $400 on Stressless Mayfair, featuring innovative ergonomic comfort systems and multiple sizes for a personalized fit. Don't wait. It's time for Stressless, proud to be endorsed by the American Chiropractic Association. Shop Boswell's, 2915 Easy Street in Wenatchee.
I'm Tom from Alpine Air Heating and Cooling. At Alpine Air, we think of ourselves as customer service oriented retailers. When you make an appointment, please visit our store, meet our people, see our shop. We are serious about heating and air conditioning. Carrier and Alpine Air are offering huge factory rebates and financing options for all your needs. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Alpine Air. Call for your free replacement estimate. Heat and air, call Alpine Air, 662-6846.
And we are back on this Friday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, live here from Studio 2 in downtown Wenatchee. Our weather roller coaster rolls right along. What are we looking at? One more time from our friends at Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Look at that forecast from the National Weather Service. Starting at about 10 o'clock this morning, so a couple hours or so, it's going to start raining, they think, here in the Wenatchee Valley. It's going to rain for most of the rest of the day. And look at that high, 43 degrees. So get ready for some big-time snowmelt. The streets are right now kind of icy with some compact snow and ice on most of the major and even the minor streets around our area, but that's going to start melting away. It's going to get gloppy and sloppy by this afternoon. It's also going to be windy at times. The winds are coming out of the south, blowing to the north, bringing in some warm air. That's why we're going to have rain and not snow. Gusts in the 20-mile-an-hour range, a distinct possibility later on this afternoon. Steady rain tonight and a steady overnight low of about 35 degrees. So we're not going to get below freezing, so the snow will continue to melt in the overnight hours. And once again, we'll be in the 40s on Saturday. You're going to wake up tomorrow morning with some more rain coming down. It should taper off right around 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. Outside of that, just cloudy and mild. Again, a high near 40. Saturday night, although the snow level is going to be around 2,100 feet, there's no precipitation in the forecast for Saturday night. 30 for the overnight low. We'll wrap up the weekend Sunday. Lots of clouds and a high near 36. We're going to jump ahead to Tuesday night because that's Christmas Eve. Patchy fog, lots of clouds. 25 for the overnight lows you see there. And on Christmas Day proper, Wednesday the 25th, patchy fog, lots of clouds and a high near 32 with all of this snow melt coming. A white Christmas, at least here in the Wenatchee Valley on the valley floor. Not going to happen. Doesn't look like it. You can always head up to the Cascades or places north. They're going to have a white Christmas, but not so much down here. My guest on Monday is Bonnie Orr, because the winter solstice is on Saturday night, and whenever we have a solstice or an equinox at 4 times during the year, Bonnie Orr makes a point to come by and pay me a visit. She'll be here live in the studio on Monday. Everybody have a fantabulous weekend. We'll see you Monday. Take care. Bye-bye.